Morning.
Good morning.
How's everything going?
Good. I think I'm gonna go with 2 or 3.
Why?
Because you have some really contractions. I don't know what they are. She says
Yeah.
she like cramps, but her stomach looks really deformed sometimes.
It gets tight and it kind of moves and shifts and all that.
Yeah.
Mhm. Been there, had too, so. Come on, down there. Okay. There's Morton, there's folks. He did some interesting stuff in there,
Yeah.
like went off topic. Did you know that? Morning, Morgan. Hey, look, guys, I'm back in flip-flops. I actually ran Saturday and Sunday, and hot, ooh.
I was in Dallas all weekend.
Oh.
Or we went to Dallas Friday night at like 7. Or, no, we left at 6, got there around 1 or 2.
Do what?
My brother and his wife dragged me into a little card game, and there was a big thing going on us, and they couldn't go compete, so we all like went and competed.
Did you win any money?
Yeah, I got my chippy back.
Oh, that's not winning, is it? That's just
No.
not losing. That's like a tie. That's like kissing your sister, right?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay. All right. So, good morning. All of the compare and contrast are graded. Oh, my God. It's done. I started on summaries. I got halfway through one section. I will be starting, should finish those today, except I noticed some problems on the summary. And it has to do with people who were using EBSCO, okay? So I want to take a little bit of time to help you, remind you how to not accidentally give me the Brazilian National Standards citation, okay? Because that's what I got. Or I actually got 3 papers that didn't have a citation and didn't have a paraphrasing summary. And I'm going to tell you, they started off with a 65. That was the best they could make. Yeah, so, yeah, so people didn't listen. It's kind of sad. So I'm going to go into, I want to go into the library quickly. What did I say? I don't even know where I'm at. That's how, I'm kind of crazy today, sorry. And I want to show you, just again, to be careful how, when you're in EBSCO, because I would come up, people would have articles, and I was like, what is this citation? And I could go and find their articles in EBSCO. That's what was really scary. I'm going to be honest. I don't mean to be in blank. Here, let me get into my SPC. That would be the smartest thing to do right now. Okay. And so this was a little, it's like, I know it's hard to pay attention. I know I'm way away from it. But this is where you have to start adulting, particularly at the high schools, and pay attention. Because you're going to miss stuff and get it wrong. And that's why do you think I repeat myself? Because I know people aren't always paying attention, okay? So, excuse me. So when you go in the databases, and I'm not talking about opposing viewpoints because it defaults to MLA in opposing viewpoints. That's the good thing. That's what Gail does. Academic Search Complete is EBSCO, which is encyclopedia, blah, 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 whatever the whole thing is, all right? So I'm just going to type in curfews this time. We'll just type in curfews for teens. I typed in death penalty and got a strange article, the very first one. Smartphone curfew, Japanese city. Let's go, male curfews, teen discrimination. Mall curfews. Oh, that's a great idea. The other thing that I noticed was I was getting some summaries of articles, and if you're talking about cell phone usage in 2004 is not cell phone usage in 2021, is it? So you need to make sure that there's a timeliness to your article. So here I'm going to open up. I'm not going into the article. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Just to remind you, Mall curfews, teen discrimination, you've got the abstract, can't work from that, that's the summary. To get full text, you have a choice between HTML and PDF, but when you get those, you don't get the citation. When you're in EBSCO, when you're in Academic Search Complete, you have to come over here and click on Cite. Make sure your screen, and it says CITE, all right? And so when you open this up, the very first one it goes to is ABNT, which if you read it says Brazilian National Standard, okay? That's wrong. And part of your clue that you might have something wrong is it says Disponível M. That's not English, okay? You have to scroll down all the way to MLA. And you don't get works cited, you just get this. You just copy where you have an author's last name, okay? So you'll put it on, let's see here. Oh, I need to open up the document, sorry. I'll just grab a new one real quick. I just wanted new, not open, my bad. Sorry. You'd think I'd have this down after one day. Let me, very quickly, I'm going to put this on double spacing. And I'm going to copy it in, and there it is, and you can see it's grayed. So that's one of the issues you may run into when you're doing that. But I want to make sure I have the hanging indent, so I go to paragraphs, the little arrow here, go down to indentation special, and I go hanging. I can see how it indented there, and that's how it creates that indent. Let me see, I don't think I can get rid of the gray. I think that's just something that happens with EBSCO. Let me see, no color? No, it leaves it on there. And I can live, if you have a grade citation, I can live with it, okay? Or the other option you have is if you, so there's the citation. When you send it to yourself in an email, you might be able to get it, but it's just maybe a case of, see how it looks pretty there, but it's not going to how it looks if you copy and paste it. I'm just telling you. So you've got to make sure that you go to the correct citation format. And so what I'm seeing is a lot of people giving me whatever that first one is, which is Brazilian National Standards, which is wrong. The other thing I noticed that I saw were that students don't realize when you're looking at when you're doing the citation, let me pull that back up so you can see it. Okay, here it is. And so their article would say, the first line, remember how it was supposed to say after the citation, the first sentence should say, in the article, mall curfews, teen discrimination, by author Sean McCullum. They would tell me by McCullum, Sean. You don't refer to authors by their last name, first name. When you're writing about them in your essay, they need to be first name, last name. And you make sure and take out, you can leave the question mark in there because this is part of the title, all right? So those are things to watch out for. The other thing that came up was that I had somebody who, on opposing viewpoints, when there wasn't an author, they wrote down, they would go, in the article such and such by Gale. Gale is the database. Gale is full of millions of articles. It's not something you reference. If you don't have an author, you have to say the article, it discusses this, the author discusses this, but you never say Gale. So I had to take off points for that because I covered that, but I know I cover a lot. I was at New Deal on Friday and I said, so you guys do watch the videos when you're not in class and I'm teaching, and they're like, that's why we video, so that you can get that instruction in this, okay? So that's the things I've been seeing on the summaries, all right? So make sure you get MLA if you're in Academic Search Complete. I had somebody who did a blog. I said, a blog's not acceptable, okay? A blog is just what somebody thinks, so make sure, if you want to make the A, you have to use the SBC database to get credit, okay? Otherwise, the best I'll give you is a B, because I want you to know how to do research. You're going to be in college, you're in college, they're going to be there. You need to know how to use the databases, all right? So now we're going to talk about integrating quotes, and actually, let's talk about your next big assignment coming up first. We're going to talk about the rough outline of the argumentative essay. You've got it. It's 3 pages long. Okay. That's in a PDF for me. Okay. So, no, that's not it. I'll find it eventually. There it is. Okay. actually, I'm gonna close it and reopen it because I did all this writing in it. The outline, the rough outline for the argumentative essay is a grade. It's part of your grade. It's 25 points. And if you get this done to at least a halfway extent where you get half of the information filled in, you have a first draft of your paper. So it's to your advantage to do it, okay? It is due for them, right now it says it's due for you guys on Wednesday. I'm gonna push that back to Friday. Post, you may still be playing football, right? Martin, are you guys gonna still be playing football, or are you done? Yes? No. You're still playing? Okay. So, because once you're done with football, it immediately jumps into basketball. And I don't know if they'd have a tournament this weekend, it's a little quick to have one. The next weekend they will before Thanksgiving probably, but,
So this is basically gonna be
that's the rough outline.
now looking at this week, start time.
Oh, it's probably in next week. It's in week 12, yeah.
That's nice.
Well, that's because that's when it's due. That's why you have a hard copy, because God love him, I have one student who loves to handwrite everything. And this is, I'm not looking at you, and that's okay. I found out when I first went back to college, I didn't like composing on the computer. Now, the only thing I really work on paper much is when I'm trying to do a syllabus, because I change dates and actually I'll print out my old syllabus and then I'm writing all over it. So, because I need to do that thinking beforehand. But this is what we're talking about, and it's a long document, and you're welcome to write all over it, and if you want to get it to your facilitator and have them scan it for you, it would be better if you type it for me, because I'm gonna look over them over the break. I'm not going to do them.
There's a break?
Yeah, believe it or not, the week of November, let me just look at this, that'll make it a lot easier. It's the week of Thanksgiving. You have you guys have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off, okay, the week of Thanksgiving. And SPC has class on Monday and Tuesday. I don't have anything scheduled because I don't have them, but on Monday I will be here. If you bring your rough outline into me, and it can be handwritten, okay, since we're gonna be face to face, they'll be gone. I will look over yours in class and make comments on it and give you the grade. So you don't have to upload it if you just bring it, so you've got till Monday to get it, Monday the 22nd, it's my birthday, you think I can remember that? Yeah, okay.
We'll hop there.
Yeah, it's a very infamous day in history. You know what happened on November 22nd, 1963? The assassination of JFK. Yeah. They canceled my birthday party. As a 9-year-old, I really didn't quite get the significance of killing the president. Surprise, surprise, okay? So we will have class on that Monday. Morgan, where are you from? I'm from here. You're from here? Donald's not too far. Everybody else is here. Okay. So there's no reason not to come, because you get one-on-one time with me. And I can say, okay, this looks weak. That's why we're gonna go over it right now, so that we can spend some time talking about it, okay? So when you look at it, the essay title, it should not be, should the death penalty be abolished? It should be, the death penalty should be abolished, okay? The death penalty is bad, or whatever. Curfews are ineffective, you know what I'm saying, whatever your title's gonna be. You need to fill that in. For the kids at the schools, it's better if they type it on the document. And you're welcome, and it's in week 12, Dante just looked that up. This document is actually in week 12, okay? Which is what next week will be. And, you can delete those, you can get rid of those lines in there. This is actually from a class where it was a face-to-face class, and so kids could work on it in class that way. So you just put the title up here, and we're just gonna say, let's go with death penalty. All right, so the death penalty should be abolished, okay? So the opening is give an overview of the issue topic, briefly explain both sides. Whatever, you don't have to explain both sides. But you've got to have a thesis with 3 reasons, so I'm just going to, watch what I'm going to do. I'm just going to delete those lines and go, I'm going to switch it now and say capital punishment, which are the same thing, which is the same thing as the death penalty, should be abolished in the, I'm just trying to get more words, United States, isn't that easy? By adding the United States, I've added in the United States 4 more words. It's a lot easier to hit that different, because it is not a deterrent. Deterrent costs too much money and is not administered equitably, okay? So I've got my 3 points in my thesis right there. These are the ones I most frequently say in class, right, when I'm talking about it. So, here's my first reason. We'll make that yellow. Cost too much money, it's going to be green. You don't have to highlight it. I'm just highlighting it to show where it relates to in the sentence. Equitably. Equitably. Get rid of that I. There we go. So when the word is underlined in red, it's misspelled. Do something to it, okay? That's what I did. All right, so there we go. We've got our 3 reasons. So it is not a deterrent. So that's my first point. So when it says first body paragraph, second paragraph of essay, I'm getting rid of that one. Okay, I got all but that one. Okay, so here's mine. I can't spell today. It's not a deterrent. I couldn't remember. Deterrent. Okay, details. So then, details are going to be, one of the things you need to be doing is not thinking, we don't have to do anything in this class for the next 2 weeks. Yes, you do. You need to be doing research. You need to be going out there and finding out information about your topic. I'm not going to give you class time to do research. That's something you don't need me for, right? I've only showed you how to go to the databases forever. It feels like it. Okay? So details, that would be one source. You know, statistics, proof.
At the very, very end, do we need a citation list?
Yes, but not on this. But not on this rough outline.
Okay.
Okay. On the first draft, the draft when we're going to do peer revision, yes, you will need a works cited with it. When we're going to talk about that, we're going to talk about works cited on Wednesday, and we're also going to review for the apostrophe quiz, because that's Friday. Okay? Statistics, prove. Oh, that's why it's a problem. I still have a line in there, so. See, that's one reason why you might want to get rid of one. Statistics prove that it doesn't keep people from killing people, okay? And then you would go in there. That's supporting idea. There might be another supporting idea. You might have come across a couple of things that it says about deterrence, okay? Second body paragraph, that was it cost too much money, right? D. Where's my D? See, that's why I would say just delete the lines from it, okay? I'm messing it up because of those lines. That's my fault. Capital punishment, and please notice I'm spelling it C-A-P-I-T-A-L. Capital punishment, not capital, like the building. Punishment costs more money than life in prison. Okay. Then you give the details, whatever information you have on it. Okay. So, and same way. You might have 3 supporting ideas that talk about the cost. Because you have appeals, you have multiple appeals, you have the cost of execution, and you have more issues dealing with the executions now. So there's a lot of reasons that it costs too much money. And then you put the third one in, which is it is not I thought I was up there. Sorry. It is. I can't spell today. Ministered. I could have copied them. That would have been easier. Ministered fairly to all races and genders. Women don't get it near as often as men do. Okay. So supporting idea. Minorities, How did I manage to do that? It's pretty impressive. Minorities, women, okay, so then you put that in there. And then, so you can see, as big as this document is, if you start filling out most of this document, you've got a first draft of your paper, don't you? So on details, what you might just say, this is source, you could give the title of the source for details or something along those lines, okay? You can literally copy it from wherever you have it, online and copy it in there. So you don't have to fill out every single blank, but you do have to show that you have research that you can use on these, all right? And then the fourth paragraph, this is the counter argument, so you've got to at least give me one counter argument and refute it, okay? Or if you can't refute it, you can concede it and say, but this is a minor issue compared to the reasons to abolish it. You've got to say something like that, okay?
All right.
Does that make sense? You know, and then the conclusion. If you look at this, you rephrase the thesis. Put it in your own words. It can be the opening of your conclusion, and you don't need to begin it in conclusion. The last paragraph is always the conclusion, except I had somebody in my 9 o'clock class that didn't do a conclusion on their compare and contrast essay. I said, there's no conclusion. It was late, so, but we've dealt with that. Then you've got the summary of the essay's 3 supporting points. So you say, it is, what was the first one? It is not a deterrent. Executing someone for killing someone else will not keep other people. You can just kind of summarize the main point. So if you do that for your 3 supporting points, and you've now got 4 sentences in your conclusion instead of 1 or 2, because what I've mainly seen this semester are 1 or 2 sentences in a conclusion. Not enough. And that's why people are short on their papers. Okay? And then you can close. You can go tie back to however you introduced it. And some of you have not really worked on introductions. You've just said, cars are important. Let's compare the Mustang and the Camaro. I just happened to grade that paper over the weekend, so that one stuck in my mind, okay? And that's all I got, in my introduction. So, but if you said, choosing a new car is like picking out a new wife. Oh, see what happens there. What a nice metaphor, isn't it? So now you can go back and say, so you wouldn't just choose the first woman you came along to marry, would you? So see how you can go back and tie that in the conclusion, all right? Or you can give a prediction, suggestion, quotation, or call to action. So when in doubt, quote, go find a quotation, all right? So I'm just going to come back over here. I just want to go open that up. Okay, I'm going to come over here and go, quote, quotes about, quotes, for the death penalty, okay? That becomes a source in your paper. Capital punishments quotes from Goodreads, death penalty quotes. Top 30 quotes and sayings about death penalty. Let's look at that one. And so this becomes a source. It's not a source that's going to get you the A, but it's a quote you could stick in at the end, right? Quotes and sayings. Oh, there's a lot of stuff in here. Capital punishment is the most premeditated of murders. Shoot, yeah. Wouldn't that work? That's what the state is. It's premeditated murder by Albert Camus. That's how you say that name. Okay? I am against Andrew Cuomo. Had it not been for slavery, the death penalty would have likely been abolished in America. Slavery became a haven for the death penalty. Oh, here's one. Innocence. See, there's one of your things. So you can find quotes. Just type in quotes about your topic, and you might want to put your site on there. Okay. So you can see there's still more. This is a good one. The taking of life is too absolute to reversible for one human being to inflict on another, even when backed by legal process. Where the death penalty persists, conditions for those awaiting execution are often horrifying, leading to aggravated suffering. Now, that's by Ban Ki-moon, which the problem with that quote is that he's probably writing out. We don't keep our death row prisoners in poor conditions, but much of the world does. If they're going to execute somebody, why spend money on them? Okay. So that's what you're going to be due. For you guys, you're going to have until Friday. I will, let me make a note to myself to take care of that. Okay. And I do want to talk about the quiz. On the quiz, some of you read the directions, like where it said, one word, spell it exactly. I went back in and I've looked at all the ones that were done, and I checked this yesterday, because I went in Friday night, still had some people taking it, so I went in last night, and I have a list of all the people who were taking it, believe it or not, so I could check it. And if you don't read the directions, you get it wrong, where it said, use one word, spell it correctly, just like it is in the thing. So I went back in and corrected all of those. If you didn't get it taken, I'm getting frustrated with the kids at the high schools not taking them, and the kids here not taking them when they're assigned. You know, there's a test, you should take it, okay? Actually, what I might end up start doing is I might not open it up for you guys until after lunch. Because nobody did any of y'all take it in the morning?
Unfortunately, I had work that morning, so I couldn't.
Well, that's okay, but did you take it?
Yes.
Yeah, you took it, okay. So if I open it from noon to midnight for you guys, for the kids, I'm only gonna open it for your class period. So if you don't take it in your class period, you got a problem. I need to know why you weren't in class, and it has to be an excused absence involving the school or illness, and you have to prove it, because too many people are just not taking them. And it's very frustrating. So, I was gonna make a note to myself about what I'm...
I think I was on track.
Huh?
I'm jokingly saying I thought I was on track.
Okay, let's see, so the rough draft is due by next Friday, so you've got an extra 2 days. Moved, rough outline, of argumentative to Friday, whatever day that is. Friday, the 19th. Okay? Huh? Are you guys okay with that? You guys look bored. Okay, all right, somebody said okay. And, I can leave it due on Wednesday if you'd rather. Okay, so, there we go. Listen to this, there's a quote on it. It says, the death penalty is being applied in the United States as a fatal lottery. So, which makes it, have you ever read The Lottery by Shirley Jackson? Yeah. Except, you did something, she didn't, Tess didn't deserve to be stoned to death. But if you've killed somebody, yeah. Oh, okay, that was by Bianca Jagger. Okay, interesting. All right, so now let's go look at quoting. Hopefully, your facilitators, I sent the wrong one to them, so you've actually got 2. So there's one that's a Word document, not very long, quoting in your research paper. This is by me and MLA. It's a better document than, I'm going to close that out. Don't save. Save. I'm going to get rid of that. Don't save. It's just one of those that, here we go. Okay. I had to shut it down. I cannot email a copy of a document if it's open up on my computer. I have to have it shut down to be able to send it to them. So this is one, according to Mrs. Thompson and MLA. So, what can we say? Let's see if I can blow this up just a little bit. All right, so this is how we quote in our research papers. Mine's pretty concise. An in-text citation referencing the author in the sentence. So, when you see Quan points out that the Fourth Amendment does not give employees any protections from employers, unreasonable searches and seizures. Okay, I'm going to make this a bit bigger because it feels small to me. Okay, so when you write a research essay, you have to identify who the author is and what page number it was located on, okay? So in this sentence, Quan is the author. That's the last name of the author. You don't refer to the first name. I got a summary where they called them by their first name. That was interesting. Okay, Quan points out that the Fourth Amendment does not give employees any protections from employers' unreasonable search and seizures. So Quan is the author. That's the author of the quote. And 6 was the page it was originally published on. Okay, so if you download a PDF from one of the sources, you get a page number because you're actually looking at the document as it was printed in the journal that it was in. If you're in HTML, you won't get page numbers. Okay, so all you can put in there, you don't have anything to put in there. But that's so that if I want to duplicate that information, I can go look at a works cited, and see who Michelle Kwan, actually is an Olympic gymnast called skater, and 6 is where it was published. So the author's named in the signal phrase. Kwan points out, ordinarily writers introduce the material being cited with the signal phrase that includes the author's name. In addition to preparing readers for the source, the signal phrase allows you to keep the parenthetical citation brief. So you don't have to put the author's name in, okay? That's one way to do it. Author's name. If you want to, underline that and put, to help yourself out, author's last name. If you want to, you can give the author's first and last names, okay? And remember, on the summary, you were supposed to go, in the article such and such by so-and-so, the author writes. You could do that as the way to introduce your quote. And let's see, in the article, I'll just say 5 words in the title. So you've now got 8 extra words in your paper, and that cuts down the number of words you got to come up with about other stuff, okay? So if you introduce a quote, integrate it into your sentence, it becomes more effective. Let's see. Frederick Lane reports that employers do not necessarily have to use software to monitor how their employees use the web. Employers can use a hidden video camera pointed at an employee's monitor and even position a camera so that a number of monitors can be viewed at the same time. This is really interesting how those quotes are turned the wrong direction. It should be that way. All right, so there's a couple things going on here. The author is Frederick Lane. It was found on page 147, most likely a book, when you get pages, or it would be a journal that's pretty big. 147 pages in a scholarly journal is not unheard of. In other words, that it would be on page 147, because a lot of times they number them consecutive over the course of the year. But please notice, do you see where can is in brackets? What happened is, a number of monitors could be viewed, it probably was could in the original quote, and by doing this, the tense becomes the same. You've got to have the same tense in your sentence. So sometimes you have to correct things in your sentences that where you're quoting so that they match grammatically with what's going on, okay? So, and this quote is from a printed source like a book or encyclopedia. So it tells you the signal phrase, Frederick Lane reports, names the author, the parenthetical citation, gives the page number of the book in which the quoted words may be found. Notice that the period follows the parenthetical citation. Parenthetical citation is always part of the sentence and at the end of the sentence where you quote or paraphrase, okay? So the author's named in parentheses. If a signal phrase does not name the author, put the author's last name in parentheses along with the page number. Use no punctuation between the name and the page number. Companies can monitor employees, elipsing out information at the beginning, every keystroke without legal penalty, but they may have to combat low morale as a result. Author's last name, page number. So when I go look at the works cited, I can find Lane, I can see exactly where it came from, and go find that article, that book. Okay, if the author is unknown, and this is not covered on my other documents, either use the complete title in the signal phrase or use a short form of the title in parentheses. Titles of books are italicized, titles of articles are put in quotation marks. So here's what happens. This is an example. A popular keystroke logging program operates invisibly on workers' computers, yet provides supervisors with details of the workers' online activities. This was an article that had no author and has no page numbers. That's why it's got automatically. That's the first word of the title. So if I want to go find this article, I go to the works cited and I see alphabetically, automatically checking on employees' work. That's the title of the article. But all I needed was automatically because nothing else started with automatically, okay? And that was a quote from the internet, okay? So that's just a real quick version of how to deal with those. So if you don't give a signal phrase that gives the complete title when it's author unknown, then you've got to have parenthetical reference that gives me enough of the title I can find it on the works cited. I have to be able to match up the works cited to your quote. So if you reference somebody in your paper, you put let's say Smith, John Smith says blah 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 blah, and so you have Smith, and I see page 8, and I go to your works cited, and there's nothing that says Smith on it, then there's a problem. You've credited the source incorrectly, and we're going to talk about that on. Let's look at the one that's got integrating quotes. It's a single page. It's a PDF, I believe. Yeah, it looks like this. Integrating quotes, MLA style. Let me make that just a little bit smaller. You have this one, okay? That was supposed to go this way, not that way. A quotation should be effectively integrated into your paragraph by setting it up and interpreting it for your reader. There are 3 ways to incorporate a quotation into a sentence. Let me make it a little bit smaller. You guys should have this document in front of you. It's part of that stack, okay? It's got that, yeah. It looks like a big PDF, doesn't it? Okay, so there are 3 ways to do it. The first one says use an introductory phrase separated from the quotation with a comma. As Rodriguez argues, comma, the American conversation about race has always been a black and white conversation. I have somebody who's writing about racism. I was a little surprised, but I do have somebody doing that. So you can see Rodriguez is the author, 406 is where it was published, the page number. The American conversation about race has always been a black and white conversation, claims Rodriguez. So you can put it at the beginning of your sentence, or you can put it after your quote. But notice, where does parenthetical reference always show up? It's at parenthetical reference, P-A-R-R-E-F. It's always at the end, and it's followed by that period. It doesn't float around out in space by itself. You okay? You're pouting.
Oh, no, I'm not pouting.
Okay. There's Kim Possible. Okay. So, you can introduce the quotation with the sentence that sets it up by using a colon. That's if you have a long, a decent one. Rodriguez uses his own observation of neighborhoods in California to demonstrate that cultural assimilation happens naturally when people live in close proximity. Colon. Culture is fluid. The ellipsis says there's words left out. You breathe it, you eat it, you can't help hearing it. So I know it was Rodriguez and all that comes, and something was left out. That was non-essential to what the point that was being made. So we need to learn how to use the ellipsis. You can splice the quotation into the flow of your own sentence. Rodriguez thinks the U.S. should adopt, I saw always down there and read it, the Mexican model of a, can anybody say that word, M-E-S-T-I-Z-A-J-E? Mestizaje? Mestizaje? Society, which means, okay, I don't know. When the girl calls herself a Blaxican, Rodriguez argues that by reinventing language, she is reinventing America. So, see how there's that brackets around that B? I would guarantee that this quote was actually a sentence by its own. By reinventing language, she is reinventing America, but you don't stick capital letters in the middle of a sentence. So you have to take that capital out and make it a lowercase b so that it flows as part of your sentence, okay? So now they talk about punctuation, and once again, I've tried to help you out. No matter if your quotation appears at the beginning, middle, or end of the sentence, the citation goes at the end, and that's why I've got always above it. And that citation is called parenthetical reference. By the time I get around to grading your essays, I'll probably just down to PR and not parenthetical reference. If there's an exclamation point or a question mark or a part of your sentence, put them outside the quotation like this. But I don't like you guys using questions, so you shouldn't, okay? I don't know how many times I've said it, probably 35, that I don't like questions in essays, and people still do it. That is a little disrespectful. It means you're not listening. Don't put them in your essay. Don't use them as the title. That's 36, 37, 38 times now, okay? If the author is not indicated, include the author's name in the citation, okay? Put them inside the quotation if they're a part of the quotation, like this. So if your title has a question mark in it, and you're referencing it, or you quote something that has a question mark, that is acceptable. If you use a question, that's not acceptable. I can't be more explicit, can I? Use ellipsis if you're cutting material from the middle of the quotation, or at the beginning or the end. You're supposed to use ellipsis. They tell you to go look at number 2, and use brackets to show changes you made to a quotation for it to fit grammatically into the sentence. And that's by, you don't begin your quote with a capital letter unless it's a proper noun. Proper nouns have to have capital letters, okay? So this goes well with mine. Now we've got one that says, when to quote, okay? I'm going to get out of there. Let's see. Here we go. How did I leave that? Here's it in. Okay, you've got this one's like 2 pages long, there's a very little on the 3rd page. So if you need to make notes, you can do that, all right? When to quote. Let's see. Quotations can enliven this, so sometimes you're like, well, you don't just put quotes in because you think you need them. They have to serve a function in your essay. So they can help your essay by enlivening it, and you need to learn how to integrate it. So quotation is, in some disciplines, they rarely use quotation. In all situations, overuse should be avoided. That means if I look in and you have 10 sources on your works cited, if you have 6 sources on your works cited, that's probably too many.
Okay.
Well, just meaning, because it's only, you've got a minimum of 600 words. If you only have 700 words and you've got 6 sources on your works cited, it probably has too many quotes in it. It's not about the quote doing the job. You're supposed to write, the quote should only support what you say, or verify or validate what you're saying, okay? So for the following criteria, use this when you're going to quote. Memorable language. Use a quotation when the author of your source says it so much better than you could ever say it. When it's so just, you're like, wow, I need to put that in there. It sounds great. And there's no way you can paraphrase it and make it any better, or make it, you'll just make it worse. When they use clear and concise language, when they say it very succinctly and quickly, that's when you should quote. But to be honest, you should not quote statistics. Don't give me the whole sentence where the statistics occur. Just say, according to Smith, 82% of inmates on Prison Row are not guilty. That's not right. I've just made up a number. But, paraphrase if you're going to give me statistics, but you still have to give credit to the source, because you didn't just make up that number like I did, okay? You have to give credit for numbers. I got a lot of summaries that have statistics in them, and dates, and things like that. That's not what it's about. Summaries are only about main ideas. Authoritative language. Use quotation to add the authority of experts and prominent figures. If you're quoting from a Supreme Court justice, that's an authoritative figure. Would you agree? If you're going to quote something that has a legal precedent, yeah, you can quote them. So they can be useful, particularly if you tell me who the source is and what their credentials are, okay? And then a language for analysis. Use quotation to highlight source passages that you will discuss and engage in rhetorical analysis. Probably not as likely you're going to be doing rhetorical analysis, okay? If you were doing literature, yes, you might want to give a section and do that, but we're not doing that. So how do you integrate? So this is going to go back over it. Do not stand quotations alone as sentences. That's a very elementary way to integrate a quote. You need to have it be part of your sentence. And once again, how did I say you could do it? And the article such and such by so-and-so, the author discusses. You can do that to integrate a quote. Don't do it every single time, particularly if you're quoting 4 times from the same source. That gets boring. You could say, Smith goes on to discuss, he also does this, you know what I'm saying? You can do that way, but it's okay to do it once with a source, but don't do it every time if you're quoting multiple times, okay? Provide signal phrases, which include the author's name and a signal verb. MLA uses present tense signal verbs, in-text citations, and a full source listings on the works cited list at papers in, at the end of the essay, which we're going to talk about on Wednesday. So Friedman states, Bittman is hardly alone in this reflexive dismissals. So when I look at that sentence, I know that Friedman is the author of the article, okay? Friedman, I can go to the works site and I'll see Friedman and I will see a source. What I noticed on some of the summaries was that a lot of articles tell you what somebody else said about something, and so their signal phrases would stop being the author and switch to the person that the author was telling about. So Bittman, if you put Bittman on there, I wouldn't be able to find Bittman because Bittman's not on the works cited. Friedman is. So you have to make sure that your signal phrase gives the author, okay? Or if you just say Bittman is hardly alone in reflexive dismissals, you've got to have Friedman right here. It has, not Friedman, but Friedman, okay? And please notice when I did it, I just put the last name, no P in front of 534. It's always going to be the page number. It's never going to be anything else. there's the closing of the parentheses, and then the period that makes it part of the sentence. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of that. Just what I typed. Oops. I got a little heavy-handed with mine. And make sure after your quotation marks that there's a space. Don't push parenthetical reference right after it. You can vary the placement of your signal phrase and use a variety of signal verbs. So they give you Bittman is hardly alone in his reflexive dismissal, comma, Friedman claims. Here we've got another one. Denying the humanity of other people has always been a way to justify oppressing and exterminating them, argues Olson. There's the author right there. And science has a long-time history of contributing to these atrocities, 13. So there's your author, there's the page. Parenthetical reference is always at the end of the sentence, it's all there. You can combine paraphrase with the quotation to capture the idea and language necessary to express your point. So look at this one. Science has contributed to the long-sad history of atrocities justified by denying the humanity of other people. That was this sentence, partly paraphrased, partly quoted. Okay? It's a nice way to do it. Including the credentials of the author you're quoting in a positive case. That's another way to do it. So we've got here, William McDonough, green architect and co-author of Cradle to Cradle. You're going to notice on yours that that's not italicized, it should have been. States, nature operates according to a system of nutrients and metabolisms in which there is no such thing as waste. So by giving me the credentials of the author, he becomes a more valid source. If I just say, a local farmer in Post, Texas, probably not as great a source, right? Nothing wrong with farmers in Post, Texas, but not as good a source as somebody who's a green architect, and because we're not really talking about farming here, we're talking about using nature as part of our building products, okay? To alter a quotation to clarify or fit the grammar of your sentence, indicate any changes by placing the altered language in brackets. Be careful not to alter the original meaning. Keep an eye on the time. Okay. Furthermore, Poland argues that to escape the Western diet, we must simply depart the realms it rules. Sorry, that was something I did earlier. It rules. My bad. I played with this document earlier. The supermarket, the convenience store, and the fast food outlet. Okay. So, the quote in the original source reads, to escape the Western diet, depart the realms it rules, the supermarket, the convenience store, and the fast food outlet. What happens is that it is a command. It's written as imperative. You is the implied subject of that sentence. And you can't use you in your writing, so you have to put in, Poland's actually saying, we as a people, or you could just put people in there. People must depart the realms it rules. You know, you could have, it didn't have to be we must simply. It could have been people should depart the realms, people need to. See how you can put in there whatever you think that noun represented, okay? Now, to shorten the original quotation, use an ellipsis, 3 periods with a space between each. Poland states, American gas stations now make more money selling food than gasoline. Think about it. When you used to go in a gas station, you could buy maybe a drink. They might have a Coke machine outside, an old one that had the bottles that you had to move down and pull them up through that crank thing. And you could buy gum and maybe peanuts and chips, but that was it. And now you can do your grocery shopping in them. So it's kind of an interesting quote. To quote someone quoted in your source, include the phrase quoted in the parenthetical citation. They say here the best practice is search for the original source. I'm saying do what they said. Do what the example says here. Gladys Block, Berkeley professor and epidemiologist, says, I don't believe anything I read in nutritional epidemiology anymore. Quoted in Poland 78. So if you're quoting somebody else's words in the article, just say quoted in and give me the author's name there. And that way you can say Gladys Block. I'm not stuck trying to figure out why does it say Block 78, but there's no block on the works cited. If you just say she's quoted in that, it works out. This paper's not long enough. You don't have enough time to try to go find original publications, okay? So don't do that. They give you this is about an offset quote. I'm not going to go through it. If you quote more than 4 lines, you probably shouldn't be quoting more than 4 lines. There's no need to do that, but it should be an offset quote. So if anybody has a super long quote that they think is just too important and it needs to be in there, send me a course message, send me the original sentence, and I'll tell you what I think, okay? Whether you should do it or not, and I'll tell you how to do it correctly. So that's what we've got for today. I was actually done 10 minutes earlier at 9 a.m. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so so you need to be doing research, you need to be working on that rough outline so that you can get it done.
Just to elaborate, since I still don't fully understand or grasp, but why is it that we don't use a question within our paragraph or our essay?
Because students tend to ask rhetorical questions that they don't think need answers. And the problem is that where I've seen a question used as the thesis, nuh-uh. This is not guesswork on my part. You're supposed to tell me what your side is and how you're gonna prove it. And don't ever end an essay with that. And I had somebody, 2 questions at the end of their compare and contrast. And I'm like, no question. Let's make sure we can write a paper before, we're not catching it, we're not good enough at it to be able to do the question. And which is really what, it was one of the ways it was saying that, in the rough outline, they were saying you can do a quotation, you can make predictions, you can ask questions. I don't want questions. I want you guys to show me that you can write and that you pay attention. Okay? So, that's it. So Wednesday, we're gonna talk about the works cited. Hopefully I'll get one done for you, and I can, a sample, or I'll put a sample in. I probably won't send copies of it. But at some point in time, we're also gonna go over a sample essay. That may happen next week. Because I don't know if I have that much on rebuttals more that I can say, all right? So, have a good weekend. No, not a weekend, it's only Monday. I'm in a hurry. Daylight savings time has messed me up more this year than it ever had. Normally, I'm fine when I get the extra hour, but.
Your conference is scheduled to end in 2 minutes.
I mean, I got up at 7 o'clock yesterday morning when I didn't need to. But I have to admit, it was nice getting up and all right, so, if you've got any questions, send me first. All right. When you're doing, please talk.
All right. And read about the citation.
About the size, we're gonna talk about that Wednesday.
Okay.
Just make sure you get the MLA citation to go with it, the site.
All right, and I remember you saying scroll further down.
Scroll, if you're in Academic Search Complete, you gotta scroll, you gotta click on site, and scroll down till you see MLA. Opposing viewpoint, MLA. So when you download an article from them, you get the MLA citation at the bottom, okay?
All righty.
All right,
Thank you very much.
bye. Well, no, it's gonna be 83 today, so, hey, I'm in flip-flops, I'm happy about that. They make me happy, what can I say?
Yeah, I gotta go help my decoration. Already putting up presents, like,
Well, you wanna do it when it's nice instead of when it's cold, so that's okay. So long as he doesn't turn them on, we're okay with it, right?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your conference is now over. Goodbye.